Hello, D-Rock here. Welcome to the channel. On a previous trip to this general area, I found an artifact sticking out of the dirt. I was able to, I think, identify this particular projectile point with the help of a viewer, and it was determined to be a Western stemmed point or Western stemmed tradition. Upon further research, the Western stemmed tradition dates back to the Paleo period, and it may have overlapped Clovis. We're talking 9 to 12,000 years ago. Absolutely fascinating. So I thought I should return to the area to continue searching for more artifacts. This particular area was a hotspot for obsidian and still is, and the obsidian lithics here are everywhere in any given direction. This part of the higher desert during the Paleo period would have been much cooler and wetter. Also fascinating to think about. It's incredibly interesting to think about who and what lived in this area over the past 12,000 years. Certainly plenty to contemplate. So please join me as I head out into the desert to discover what once was. Okay, I'm back out in the Great Basin Desert. We've got a couple spots we want to hit this morning before it gets too hot. And I don't know. I got some pretty big thunderheads already building and the sun's just come up, so we might get some weather today. Now we're well into summer now, so in the lower desert, temps have been about 108 degrees for the last week or two. It's miserable, so I'm up a little higher, but I mean the high today is probably gonna be 90. It's still pretty burly out here, but the mornings are nice still. So, you know, it works for now. But I've been doing some researching and I've come across some interesting things. The first thing is one of the points that I found out here earlier on an earlier trip. I'll show the clip here right now, as a matter of fact. Okay, looking at that point. I'm just going to slowly zoom in here. Oh, look at that point sticking out of the ground. What? That's awesome. Here's the point sticking out of the ground. Check that out. I'm going to slowly just pull this out so we can have a look. Oh, there it is. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. Beautiful piece, just jutting out of the ground. Oh no. All right, we're just gonna put that back and awesome. So I got a comment on that, and it was viewer mentioned they identified it as a Western stemmed tradition, and I researched that, and yeah, sure enough, that's what it was. And the dating to it is very old, like possibly 9 to 12,000 years old. Like it's alongside Clovis. It's pretty interesting. So if that is indeed how old that point is, man, that really, I don't know, just kind of, it's just a trip to think about. You know, you touch something that old and it's just been out here, and this place was completely different 10,000 years ago. It wasn't just a dry desert like this. It was it was a marshland or on the edge of a lake or something. It's just hard to fathom, but that's very interesting. Oh, here we go. Here's some obsidian lithic here. Also, so I'm coming back out in the area because I want to continue searching out here, looking for prehistoric artifacts, of course. It's just fascinating. And another thing I came across, just a small little, not even a couple paragraphs about ceramics in Nevada. And they found Mesoamerican ceramics out in, what would that be, west central Nevada, from the central highlands of Mexico, that date back, I think it was from the Teotihuacan era. Like, they found some pottery and some figurines. So ceramics a few thousand years ago weren't really in play in Nevada. I think people were transporting water and everything with baskets that were pitch lined. So that kind of makes sense, I guess, because in a lot of the areas I've been exploring lately in the Great Basin area, Great Basin Desert, that is, I come across lots of lithic materials, and I never come across any pottery. So there just wasn't pottery being utilized. I think it was being traded for, and the trade routes ran all the way down into central Mexico from Nevada naturally. So I've mentioned this a few times in prior videos. If you've never been down to, say, Teotihuacan or Cholula or everything down in Mexico 2,000 years ago, it was popping off down there. And it obviously had influence all the way to the north, trade routes. Great obsidian up here. Not that there's not any down there, but it would have been traded. So it's just amazing to think about the scope of all this that was occurring in the area a couple thousand years ago to even 10,000 years ago. You know, it's just really cool to think about, really cool to be out here kind of experiencing a slice of that, you know, historically. So yeah, that's my story today. Is I'm just back out, gonna hit a couple areas. I got my truck back with another engine in it. So hopefully we don't break down again today. I want to get back out to a spring I want to search around. So, but first we're gonna check out this area real quick and then make our way to the spring. And hopefully this doesn't turn into a severe storm in a few hours. It builds quick out here. Coming up on this rise here, and I've got some materials. I've got some flaked obsidian, and looks like that's some chert. Right on. So I'm all about finding some Mesoamerican pottery out here in the Great Basin Desert. That's my goal now. Man, wouldn't that be? Whew, wouldn't that be interesting? Okay, now I've been out here before. I'm gonna go back up. I'm gonna try a different section of this area here. This is a little high rise and some rock outcropping on a nice wide. You can see the wideness here of the drainage. What used to be, might have been an area where water was flowing through continually. I'm not sure, but or it could have been a finger lake or something, or a wetland. Whatever the case is, just to give you an example of where I've pulled off and parked here. I mean, the ground is just covered in material, lithic material, just where I pulled over. And it just gets thicker. I mean, I'm just walking here and I'm seeing it. Yeah, it's everywhere. My goodness. This is a great sign. So we're gonna go back up in here and spend a couple hours, and then we're gonna try again for the spring. Hopefully we don't have any mechanical problems again today. So, man, this is exciting. So hopefully the camera's making this a little easier to identify, but you can see this whole area. You can see it's higher up here, higher on either side, and it's just like a big drainage. This would have had water, and there's an arroyo right in the middle of it that's cut really deep. But this could have been
some type of Finger Lake wetland or anything like that a very long time ago. Let's go back 1,000 years, and the climate was pretty much the same as it is now. But you go back a few more thousand years, you know, it gets a little cooler. Wow, look at that. Look at that piece of obsidian. It's been worked all on the edges. Huh. Big piece, huh? Anyway, as I was saying, wow. This would have had lots more water out here, and God, I'm just finding these big chunks. I'm sorry to keep interrupting myself, but up on the higher ground, people would have hung out and done their life chores, make tools, you know, going about their lives, but they would have been above things, so they would have had views, you know, views to look for animals, keep eye out for other people, you know, all these things. And it's up in here that I'm finding just massive amounts of lithic material. So this is an interesting area, but kind of curious to get up in this arroyo and check the sides of it. Just a fascinating area. It becomes even more fascinating once you start understanding the geology a little better, which is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to learn a little more. And then it's just like, oh, wow, man, there's a whole lot of stuff going on out here. Also, finding points in the area that date back possibly 9,000–10,000 years. As I mentioned earlier, the Western stem tradition, that's just an added bonus. It's just like, oh, man, this place was popping for thousands of years. So hopefully today we come across something really interesting, but I tend to keep my expectations low, that way I'm not disappointed. However, it's still awesome being out here. What I can't wait for is when the weather finally cools off. I can really enjoy my days out here and not have to deal with the heat so much, but you know, that's not a big deal really. We get through it. It's a little better up here than the lower desert. And here we go. Where the water's really carved this area out, hasn't it? So this is one of the local residents out here. This is a horny toad. Pretty cool little critter. See these guys all over the place. All right, I've come up and I'm about to get into the rocks here, and as soon as I did, I'm like in this slight drainage here. You can see the material's different. This is where water runs off and there's lots of gravel, but just in there is a nice worked piece. So I'm going to do a close-up of this real quick. Looks beautiful. All right, what do we got here? Let's have a look. Oh yeah. Oh. That is definitely worked piece. Not sure what it would be. Got some on the other side there. Might have been some type of scraping tool. I'm not 100% sure. But that is cool nonetheless. So we're in it now. Warming up all right. Ooh, I believe I just found a point. Nice. We're gonna get in for a close-up. All right, let's have a look. Oh, yeah. Whew. There it is. That is definitely a point. Obviously, probably broke off from something larger. You can focus there. That's great. Okay, we're off to a good start. You know, I'm not so sure. If you look at the base of this point, you can see it's been worked really finely. So I don't think it was broke. Maybe it was repurposed, but It's a nice little piece there. What do you guys think as far as identifying it? Hit up those comments. Once again, we're in it. There's obsidian lithics everywhere. So I feel like this whole area was one giant workshop. So this is exciting. Hopefully we come across something unique. Now I'm looking at this piece here and I'm wondering if this was actually a knife. It looks like it's got the makings of a stem down here, and the edge is fine. I mean, extremely fine. That would open you right up right there. It's literally almost sharp enough to shave my arm. It is, no doubt. So I'm wondering if this was actually in use, or I don't know, maybe it was about to be. I don't know. It's really fascinating. This is a big piece. Look at how big that is. It's a big piece of obsidian, but this edge is what I'm talking about. It is. If I can get it to focus here. Look at how fine that is. That would have that'll open you up, no doubt about that. The other side's almost as good. It's kind of serrated, but I don't know. I feel like this is an old piece. What do you guys think? So I'm finding lots of obsidian nodules. Get out of space! Get back! Get back! Woo! There's our rattlesnake. Dang, I was standing right there. Okay, well, there's our first rattlesnake encounter, and he's retreating back into the rock, so he's not coming after us. We're okay. Just, whew. Heart's thumping. As I was saying, finding lots of obsidian nodules. So they were bringing it up here to work on it. I gotta take them in and relax. God bless. All right, we want to stay away from the rocks. Well, just in case you're wondering, my dog Phoenix has been snake trained, and she gets vaccinated for rattlesnakes. That was still a close call. But the good thing about rattlesnakes is, if they're old enough, they get the rattles, they'll buzz you, they'll give you warning, and they're always in retreat. They don't want to, they don't come after you or anything. So if you give them respect and back off, then you're usually okay. A lot of times people get bit because they're messing with the damn snakes. And also another time is they might be coiled under a bush and you actually step beside it. So that was a good encounter. Everything's cool. Still a little shaken. I don't want to get my dog popped on the nose or anything, and I certainly don't want to get bit. But we're good. We're going to continue on, and we're just going to kind of stay away from the rocks. That's where the snakes generally are, because that gives them cover from above, because the birds like to grab them. So hopefully we don't have any other encounters today. Yeah, finding lots of nodules up here. I'm not sure if they've been brought up here or they're just, I'm in a volcanic area, if they're just naturally here. But boy, there's, not just the nodules, but then beside them you've got all kinds of flakes. Just a really crazy area. Just found this piece. This is interesting. Look at that clean break. And it's been worked on the edge there. It's got an edge. Huh. Curious as to the purpose of that. Maybe unfinished. Not sure. Very interesting. So here's a look at a obsidian nodule that's been smacked and cracked. You can see. I'm not sure if nodules are being farmed and then brought up here, or this is just where they are. I guess that's, I'm not sure. But like I said, I mean, there's, from the lithics up here, it feels like this is just a workshop. Maybe they were brought up here. Maybe this was a village up here, and groups of people just sat up here and produced tools for economical purposes. Don't know. It's a mystery. Well, look at that. It's a nice notch in it. And it's broke, maybe. There's a bunch of material right here. I wonder if it broke, if anything's attached to that. I don't know. I actually found the broken piece just next to this. What do you think that is? That's crazy. One side was flipped, the other side. The other side, one to the left, is polished on the bottom because it, you know, one side was down, one side was up. So that's crazy. Let me go in for a close-up. So there you have it. That's great. Can't believe I found the pieces next to each other like that. Usually you don't. Or I usually don't. And then just beside it all, there's some material on the ground here. And there's this other big piece. Wow, what a trip. And then right beside it all, I find the stone that might have been doing the hammering. You can see all the impact from impacting that, how shiny that is. The stone was right there beside it all. Huh, what a trip. Check out that big piece I just found. That's been worked on both sides. That's pretty big. I think this is really old stuff here, just due to its size. I mean, that is big. Let's go for a close. I mean, that's obviously on its way to being a point, and maybe it fractured here and they gave up on it. But they were working on this whole side, and that's a big point. Look at that. That's incredible. And this whole side's been worked, and they were moving to the other one, so I don't think this was a finished product. I think it probably fractured down here. I could be wrong, but what do you guys think? I mean, that's a big piece. Think that's pretty old? So this is a really interesting spot. I'm just like literally on the side of this hill, and you can see the views here, but it's covered with lithic debris. And as I'm just kind of going along the edge of this hill, I just found a sweet piece of obsidian. So check this out. Look at that. Whoa. Holy moly. Look at that. Wow. I'm like wondering if it's been shaped. Like, did it have a purpose? I don't know. It's really unique. I mean, look at the rocks surrounding it. It's stuck out. That is crazy. I mean, I feel like it's been shaped, to be honest with you. It looks like it's been impacted on the inside here. You can see because it's glass. That's a trip, man. I wonder if this is an artifact. It had to come from somewhere. Someone brought it right here. Wow, that is crazy. Check that out. Coyote. I mean, from way over there where I started, all the way over this whole hill is covered in lithic debris. Covered. It's everywhere. I'm finding scrapers, I'm finding points. It's just, it's been a pretty good day, you know. Had a little drama with the rattlesnake, raised the pulse a little bit. Yeah, good day. I was only going to spend an hour or two, but it's been more than that in this area just because I've been coming across so much stuff. So we may be having to wrap this up here instead of going back to the spring, because it's just going to get really hot in the next few hours as the afternoon approaches. So, but man, it's incredible everything I've come across, especially that giant piece of obsidian. Oh yeah, what an amazing area. All right, we are at midday. It is warm, probably 90 degrees. It's pretty good. It's probably getting a little too warm for the dog. So I think I'm going to wrap it today. It's been an extraordinary day. I found some really cool stuff. As far as the age of the stuff, I don't know. It's hard for me to tell. I am not a professional, but you know, like I mentioned earlier in the video about finding that one point sticking out of the ground, which was a Western stem tradition that goes back a very long time. So it's anyone's guess what I'm getting into out here, but I think some of it is pretty old just because of size. I could be wrong, which is okay, but yeah, we got lots more content on the way. So if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel tremendously. It's free, and we'll see you next time, folks. D-Rock out. Adios.